Hello, my name is Dave Morera. I'm a Staff Technical Marketing Architect at VMware. Today I'm going to give you an overview of data processing units, or DPUs, that we're using for our solution called Distributed Services Engine. So let's take a look at DPUs. So if you have followed VMware's talks, we know or maybe heard of Project Monterey. Project Monterey now became Distributed Services Engine, which is a feature of vSphere 8 and above. And that allows us to take data processing units and add those to ESXi hosts, allowing us to offload services to DPUs, services like NSX. So now NSX services are going to be running on a DPU. But what is a DPU? Well, a DPU looks like a network interface. There's some differences though. So think of a performance NIC. They do have accelerators, which this one does, but it also has an interconnect between the accelerator and an ARM processor. So this is where the magic happens. We also have storage and memory on the actual DPU. And this is allowing us to install ESXi on each DPU. Now remember, these DPUs live inside ESXi host. So they have to be connected just like a NIC to an ESXi host. But they're also running ESXi. So that gets a little confusing. Now we have a host running x86 CPU, 86 CPU. It's running ESXi, and a DPU underneath running the ARM processor, also running ESXi. Right now, remember, this is part of the host. But logically, this is one. Right? So just like a NIC, we install DPUs on the host. But it's not as easy as that. There are a lot of connections and configuration that needs to be done on the DPU itself to be able to not only talk to this x86 CPU, but also understand and have a separate communication path for the NSXPs. So how is all this connected from a hardware perspective, a physical perspective? So one of the things that a lot of customers ask is, can I just buy a DPU and install it myself? And then how do I install ESXi? Well, like I said, there are some connections that need to be made internally from a hardware perspective. So we're working with OEMs like Dell, Lenovo, and HPE to bring those solutions for you. Already configured, already cabled, already installed. So think about when we started with vSAN, VMware vSAN. We needed those vSAN ready nodes. So think of this as Distributed Services Engine ready nodes. They're already on the VMware compatibility guide. So if you go there, look for Distributed Services Engine, it's going to show you on ESXi vSphere 8 which servers are available for you to purchase, already configured, already installed. So from a configuration perspective, let's open up the server. Let's open up the x86 server and look at the motherboard. We're going to see different components, CPU, memory, etc. But we're going to have your out-of-band management, BMC, right? So it could be your ILO, iDRAC, think of that configuration. And then we're going to install, well, not us, but the OEMs are going to install DPUs. So what they do is they also install a separate card. Let's call it a daughter card, because each one of those OEMs has a different name for that card. So let's call it a D card. And that daughter card is going to be able to, is going to be connected with a special cable to the BMC. So when you go to your ILO or iDRAC, you're going to be able to configure or install like drivers, firmware for your DPU as well, because now it's going to allow us to see that DPU. So this intermediate configuration is going to, communication is going to allow us to talk and see from the BMC to the DPU. So drivers and firmware can be installed directly on the DPU from here. making it easier for you to do. Once you get this server from your OEM, again, we talked about Dell, Lenovo, HPE, you can boot it up the same way, right? And I will go over the installation process in my next video, but this is a requirement for the DPU solution that we have that is called Distributed Services Engine. Also, if you're working in a cluster situation, all hosts should have the same configuration. We're talking about having same DPU versions and also the same DPU vendor for each one of those ESXi servers. And just like any other cluster within vSphere, we want it to be exactly the same. This is so that we can still leverage all those capabilities for vSphere, like HA, DRS, etc. So those are the components. This is the physical configuration installation process that is done. Not necessarily important for you to understand how it's done on the back end by OEMs, but it is very important for you to understand that you need to go through those OEM partners that we have with the already configured, already installed, and ready for you to use vSphere on DPU servers. So it's not like you can go out and configure your own. So very important for you to understand that. The process from here on is very, very simple. You don't have to worry about drivers and firmware, at least at the beginning, because that is going to be done for you. The installation process and getting started is super easy, and that is my next video, so stay tuned.